Hello everyone. Welcome to Fluent English Journey. I'm really happy you're here. Before we start, make sure you subscribe to our channel because we share useful English tips every single day. My name is Ava, and today I want to talk about something very important for anyone who wants to speak English naturally and confidently. Many people study grammar and learn lots of vocabulary, but they still feel nervous or unsure when it's time to speak. This is very common. You might know all the words, but just knowing words is not enough to speak fluently. To become confident in English, you need to practice using real sentences that people actually use in everyday life. When you learn practical daily sentences, you train your brain to think in English. This helps you speak faster and express your ideas clearly. You won't stop in the middle of a conversation trying to translate your thoughts from your own language. Instead, the sentences will come naturally, just like they do in your native language. That's why daily sentences are so important. They help you connect grammar, vocabulary, and real communication. In today's lesson, I will share many examples of simple daily sentences. I will also show you how to use them correctly. Even a small change in wording can make your English sound polite, smooth, and natural. These small improvements can make a big difference in how people understand you and respond to you. Let's imagine a situation to make this clearer. Suppose you are at a local market and you want to buy fresh vegetables. Many learners might say something very simple like, "This is vegetable" or "fresh vegetable." These sentences are not completely wrong, but they sound incomplete and unnatural. Instead, you can say, "Excuse me, could you tell me which vegetables are fresh today?" This version is polite, clear, and confident. It shows that you can communicate easily, and the person listening will understand you better. Now, let's think about ordering coffee. Instead of saying, "I want coffee," which can sound direct or a little rude, try, "I would like a cappuccino, please. Could you make it a little stronger?" This small change makes your English sound much more fluent. You also sound polite, and you show that you know how to express preferences naturally. These small details help you feel more comfortable when speaking with others, whether you are traveling, studying abroad, or talking to coworkers. Another common situation is asking for directions. Many learners use very short sentences because they are unsure what to say. But with just a little improvement, your English can sound smooth and natural. For example, you can ask, "Excuse me, could you tell me the best way to get to the train station?" This sentence is polite, complete, and natural. You can also ask follow-up questions like, "Would it be possible to walk there?" or "Should I take a taxi?" This shows that you can ask follow-up questions and communicate clearly in real-life situations. Practicing these kinds of everyday sentences will slowly build your confidence. The more you use them, the more natural they will feel. Soon, speaking English will not feel difficult or stressful. It will feel simple and comfortable, just like speaking your native language. Daily sentences also reflect how native speakers usually ask questions in everyday life. They give clear information and help conversations move smoothly without confusion. When you practice them every day, your brain begins to connect common situations with more advanced and expressive English structures. This is especially useful in work or professional environments, where polite and clear communication is very important. For example, instead of saying, "I do this task now," you can say, "I am going to start working on this task now. Would you like me to prioritize anything else?" This small change improves your grammar and shows that you understand how to communicate professionally. It sounds polite, responsible, and thoughtful, qualities that are valued in any workplace. The same idea applies to writing emails or messages. Many learners write short sentences like, "I will send it." This can feel unclear. A better, more natural version would be, "I will send the document to you by the end of the day." This sentence is clear, professional, and helps the reader know exactly what to expect. When you practice these longer sentences regularly, they become part of your natural speaking and writing style. You will find yourself communicating confidently without overthinking every word. Daily sentences are also helpful in social situations. They make conversations more interesting and help you connect with people more easily. For example, instead of always asking, "How are you?" you can ask, "How has your week been so far?" This small change invites the other person to share more information, which leads to a deeper and more enjoyable conversation. When someone gives you a compliment, you can respond in a warmer, more expressive way. Instead of just saying, "Thanks," you might say, "Thank you. I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me." This sounds friendly, natural, and emotionally intelligent. It shows that you value what the other person said and can express your feelings clearly in English. Small adjustments like these make your English sound more fluent, mature, and natural. The main idea is to replace very basic sentences with slightly longer, more meaningful ones. This is a simple habit, but it gives powerful results. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Daily sentences are also useful for expressing opinions or giving suggestions. For example, instead of saying, "I think this is good," you can say, "From my perspective, this approach seems very effective. What do you think about trying it this way?" This sentence shows confidence, politeness, and encourages others to share their ideas. It makes the conversation more balanced and collaborative. By practicing these kinds of sentences every day, at home, at work, with friends, or even when talking to yourself, you train your mind to speak naturally and confidently. Over time, speaking English becomes easier, smoother, and enjoyable. These improved sentences will eventually become your default way of communicating. When that happens, speaking English will feel easier, smoother, and much more natural. Sentences like these are polite, professional, and encourage collaboration because they invite the other person to share their thoughts. When you practice these sentences regularly, you improve more than just your speaking skills. Your listening skills naturally get stronger too. This happens because you start to notice how native speakers organize their ideas, connect sentences, and express themselves smoothly. Over time, your brain begins to copy these patterns automatically. This makes your English sound much more fluent and natural without extra effort. Daily sentences are not only useful in formal or professional communication. They are also very helpful in casual conversations. For example, when talking about something you watched or read, you can make your English sound more expressive by adding details. Instead of saying, "I watched a movie," you can say, "I watched a fascinating movie yesterday. The storyline was very engaging, and the characters were extremely well developed." This version gives more information, shows your ability to describe things clearly, and makes the conversation more interesting. Small improvements in vocabulary, sentence length, and structure help you sound fluent while still keeping your English easy and natural. Using daily sentences consistently also increases your confidence. When you repeat these sentences in different situations, your brain begins to recognize the patterns and produce them automatically. Speaking becomes faster, easier, and less stressful. You won't have to stop and translate from your native language because the sentence structures feel familiar. A helpful way to practice is to focus on common situations such as greetings, asking for help, offering help, sharing your opinion, responding politely, making requests. For example, if someone asks you for advice, instead of saying, "Do this," you can say, "If I were you, I would consider doing this because it could lead to better results." This sentence is polite, thoughtful, and respectful. It also reflects a more advanced level of English because it expresses reasoning and suggestion in a gentle, natural way. By using daily sentences in your learning routine, you train yourself to speak confidently in almost every situation. Whether you are at work, chatting with friends, or participating in group discussions, these sentences give you the tools to communicate smoothly and clearly. Another important area where daily sentences help is storytelling. Every day you talk about things that happen to you, events from your morning, experiences at work or school, or interesting things you saw or read. When you use improved daily sentences while telling stories, you make your stories more engaging and easier to understand. You learn how to describe events in order, add small details, and share your feelings or reactions. This not only improves your fluency, but also helps your listeners enjoy your stories. For example, instead of saying something simple like, "I went to the park," you can say, "Yesterday, I went to the park and spent a few hours reading and enjoying the fresh air. It was very relaxing, and I also met a few friends there." This sentence provides context, describes your experience, and gives the listener more information to respond to. It also opens the door for follow-up questions, which makes conversations more interesting and engaging. Practicing storytelling with daily sentences is an advanced skill because it combines vocabulary, grammar, and natural speaking rhythm. When you describe events with more detail, your English sounds smoother and your communication becomes clearer. Even small everyday interactions like shopping, ordering food, or asking for help are excellent opportunities to use more advanced daily sentences. For example, instead of saying, "I want this," you can say, "Could you please give me this item, and could you tell me if there are any similar options available?" Or, "Would it be possible to check if this product comes in a different color?" These sentences are polite, professional, and clearly express what you need. They also help you practice forming longer sentences that reflect real-life communication. When you practice this regularly, your fluency increases, you learn new vocabulary naturally, and you become more confident in adapting to new situations. Incorporating daily sentences into your learning routine is extremely important for becoming a confident English speaker. Whether you are at work, at home, with friends, or traveling, using complete and practical sentences will improve your speaking confidence, listening skills, overall understanding of English. As you continue practicing, these small but powerful changes will make your English smoother, clearer, and much more natural. When you practice advanced daily sentences regularly, your brain becomes faster at recognizing patterns. Soon, you'll start producing longer, more natural sentences automatically, without needing to stop and think. This is the goal for anyone who wants to reach an advanced level of English. By the end of this lesson, you will see how replacing simple phrases with fully developed sentences can create a major change in how you speak and think in English. It doesn't require difficult grammar. Instead, it only takes small improvements in detail, tone, and structure. These small changes make your English clear, confident, and natural. Now, imagine yourself at a restaurant or cafe. Instead of saying a short, direct phrase like, "Give me food," you can express your request in a polite, fluent way. For example, "Could I please have a table for two? May I see the menu, please? I would like the grilled chicken, please. Could you make it a bit less spicy?" These sentences sound polite, respectful, and natural, and they are exactly the kind of sentences native speakers use when ordering food. Using sentences like these not only helps you communicate clearly, but also makes the conversation more pleasant for everyone involved. Over time, these improved sentences become part of your natural speaking style, helping you sound fluent, confident, and comfortable in any situation. For example, instead of saying, "Give me food," you could say, "I would like to order the grilled chicken salad, please. Could you also recommend a beverage that goes well with it?" This version sounds friendly, confident, and shows that you can ask questions politely. You might also say, "I'm not sure which dessert to choose. Could you suggest the most popular option?" Sentences like these allow you to practice making requests, asking for suggestions, and using polite expressions all within a single conversation. It's important to observe how native speakers expand their sentences naturally. They often add small details, extra explanations, or softening phrases that make conversations flow smoothly. These little adjustments make your English sound more fluent, respectful, and confident. Advanced daily sentences are not only helpful for practical tasks like ordering food, but also for social interactions and friendly conversations. For example, when you meet someone, instead of asking the basic question, "How are you?" you can say something more engaging, such as, "How have you been over the past few days? Have you done anything interesting recently? It's been a while since we last met. How is everything going with your work or studies?" These longer, more expressive sentences help you start deeper and more meaningful conversations. Daily sentences also make a big difference when sharing opinions. Instead of saying, "I like this book," you could say, "I really enjoyed reading this book because it offers practical insights and the storyline is compelling. Have you read it? Or would you like me to recommend a similar one?" This version expresses your opinion, explains your reason, and invites the listener to continue the conversation. It shows higher-level thinking, clear expression, and natural communication skills. Practicing these sentences also improves your listening comprehension. When you expose yourself to more complex sentences, your brain becomes familiar with the rhythm and structure of fluent English. You start understanding conversations more easily and responding with confidence. Daily sentences are extremely useful when traveling. At airports, hotels, train stations, or tourist centers, clear communication is essential. Instead of saying short or incomplete phrases, you can use fully formed, polite sentences to get information quickly and smoothly. For example, instead of saying, "Where flight?" you can ask, "Excuse me, could you tell me which gate the flight to London is departing from?" This sentence is polite, complete, and easy for the listener to understand. Using advanced daily sentences helps you handle new situations calmly and confidently. Whether you are checking in at a hotel, asking for directions, confirming a reservation, these sentences give you the structure you need to communicate clearly. Over time, these patterns become natural, and you will find yourself speaking with ease and fluency. Instead of saying, "Where gate?" you can say, "Could you please tell me which gate my flight is departing from and what time boarding will start?" This version is detailed, polite, and easy for airport staff to understand. You might also say, "I am trying to find the information desk. Could you guide me, please?" These sentences are polite, precise, and help you communicate effectively in new or unfamiliar environments. The same idea applies when you're taking a taxi. Instead of saying, "Drive me there," you can use polite, complete sentences like, When you practice advanced daily sentences, your brain becomes faster at recognizing patterns. Eventually, you'll start producing longer, more natural sentences automatically, without stopping to think. This is exactly the goal for anyone aiming to reach an advanced level of English. By the end of this lesson, you will see how replacing simple phrases with fully developed sentences can create a major change in the way you speak, think, and interact in English. You don't need difficult grammar, just small improvements in detail, tone, and sentence structure. These improvements make your English sound clear, confident, and natural. Polite requests in daily life. Imagine yourself at a restaurant or cafe. Instead of using a short, direct phrase like, "Give me food," you can make your English polite and fluent. For example, "Could I please have a table for two? May I see the menu, please? I would like the grilled chicken, please. Could you make it a bit less spicy?" These sentences are polite, respectful, and natural, just like native speakers use. They help you communicate clearly and make the conversation more pleasant for everyone. Over time, these improved daily sentences become part of your natural speaking style, helping you sound fluent, confident, and comfortable. You can expand even further. I would like to order the grilled chicken salad, please. Could you also recommend a beverage that complements it? Or, I'm not sure which dessert to choose. Could you suggest the most popular option? These sentences let you practice making requests, asking for suggestions, and using polite expressions all in one conversation. Social interactions. Advanced daily sentences are also helpful in social conversations. For example, instead of asking, "How are you?" you can make it more engaging. "How have you been over the past few days? Have you done anything interesting recently? It's been a while since we last met. How is everything going with your work or studies?" These longer sentences help you start deeper, more meaningful conversations. When sharing opinions, instead of saying, "I like this book," you can say, "I really enjoyed reading this book because it offers practical insights and the storyline is compelling. Have you read it? Or would you like me to recommend a similar one?" This version expresses your opinion, explains your reason, and invites the other person to continue the conversation. It shows critical thinking, clear expression, and natural communication skills. Traveling and practical situations. Daily sentences are also extremely useful when traveling. At airports, hotels, train stations, or tourist centers, clear communication is essential. Instead of saying, "Where flight?" you can say, "Excuse me, could you tell me which gate the flight to London is departing from?" Or, "Could you please tell me which gate my flight is departing from and what time boarding will start?" These sentences are polite, complete, and easy to understand. They help you handle new situations calmly and confidently. Even in a taxi, instead of saying, "Drive me there," you can say, "Could you please take me to the central train station? I would like to arrive there by 5 p.m. Is that possible?" This expanded sentence is polite, clear, and communicates your time requirements. Clarity and politeness are important skills in both travel and everyday communication. Professional communication. Advanced daily sentences are equally important in professional settings. For example, instead of saying, "I finished task," you can say, "I have completed the task and uploaded the report. Please let me know if any adjustments are required or if you would like me to prioritize another task." This version is complete, polite, and responsible. When sharing ideas in meetings, instead of saying, "My idea good," you can say, "I believe this approach could be very effective because it addresses the main challenge we discussed earlier. I would love to hear your opinion on how we can implement it efficiently." This sentence demonstrates critical thinking, clear communication, and teamwork, which are highly valued in professional environments. Even giving directions or advice benefits from advanced sentences. Instead of saying, "Do this," you can say, "I would recommend starting with this approach because it usually delivers better results." How does that sound to you? This version explains your reasoning and invites the other person to respond, making the conversation respectful and natural. Expressing feelings and experiences. Daily sentences also help you express your feelings and emotions more clearly. For example, instead of saying, "I'm happy," you can say, "I'm genuinely happy about the progress we made today because it shows our efforts are paying off. How do you feel about the results?" Instead of saying, "I am tired," you can say, "I'm feeling a bit exhausted after a long day of meetings and tasks, but I'm glad we achieved our goals. How has your day been?" These longer sentences sound natural, show thoughtfulness, and encourage the conversation to continue. Asking for help or problem solving. Even when solving problems, advanced daily sentences help. Instead of saying, "Yes, help me," you can say, "I'm having some difficulty understanding this section of the report. Could you please explain it to me?" Or, "I noticed an issue with the project timeline. Would it be possible to discuss a solution together?" These sentences are polite, clear, and professional, showing teamwork and problem-solving skills. Hobbies and personal interests. Even casual conversations become richer with expanded sentences. Instead of saying, I play guitar, you can say, I enjoy playing the guitar in my free time because it helps me relax and express my creativity. Have you ever tried playing an instrument? This version shares your interest, explains why you enjoy it, and invites the other person to continue the conversation. Reading and writing skills. Using daily sentences also improves reading and writing. When you read books, articles, emails, or messages, you start noticing how sentences are built, how ideas are connected, how opinions and emotions are expressed naturally. Over time, you copy these patterns in your own speaking and writing, often without realizing it. This strengthens your grammar, vocabulary, and confidence. Writing short sentences in a journal, emails, or social media posts helps you internalize sentence patterns and develop a natural writing style. Expressing gratitude and making polite requests. Instead of simply saying, thanks, you can expand your sentence to sound more thoughtful and sincere. Thank you very much for your help. I really appreciate the time and effort you put into assisting me. These sentences sound warm, respectful, and genuine. When you want to ask someone for a favor, instead of saying, give me the document, you could say, would it be possible for you to share the document with me at your earliest convenience? I would really appreciate it. This type of sentence shows politeness, consideration, and professionalism. These qualities are important for building positive relationships, whether at work, school, or even with friends. Disagreeing or giving constructive feedback. When you need to disagree politely, instead of saying, I don't agree, you can say, I understand your perspective, but I see things differently because of these reasons. Could we discuss a possible compromise? Or, instead of saying, this is wrong, you could say, I noticed a few points that might need revision. Would you like me to share my suggestions? These sentences are polite, professional, and helpful, encouraging teamwork instead of conflict. Practicing these types of sentences is especially important for advanced learners who want to communicate effectively in serious, sensitive, or high-pressure situations. Making plans and organizing activities. Instead of saying simply, let's meet, you can say, would you like to meet for coffee tomorrow afternoon to discuss the project? I am available on Thursday or Friday. Which day works better for you? These expanded sentences provide clarity, details, and options, making planning much easier and more professional. Using natural, fully formed daily sentences helps you communicate smoothly in every situation, from meetings and messages to friendly conversations and teamwork. Over time, your brain becomes comfortable with these patterns, and you will automatically express yourself using complete, confident, and polite sentences. This is exactly what turns simple English into fluent, natural English. Talking about future plans and goals. When discussing hopes, dreams, or goals, short phrases like, I hope go travel, can be expanded to, I am hoping to travel to Italy next summer. I have been researching the cities, and I am excited about exploring the culture and trying the food. Or, instead of, I want to learn English, you can say, I am very motivated to improve my English skills, and I plan to practice daily by using real-life sentences and engaging in conversations whenever possible. These longer sentences communicate motivation, purpose, and clarity, which are hallmarks of advanced English. Expressing surprise, interest, or curiosity. Even small expressions like wow or really can be expanded to sound more engaging and interactive. I find that very interesting. Could you explain a bit more about how that works? I'm surprised to hear that. Could you share more details? These sentences show engagement, encourage the other person to continue, and make your English sound fluent and thoughtful. Writing polite emails and messages. Daily sentences are also useful in written communication. Instead of writing something short like, send me file, you can write, Could you please send me the file at your earliest convenience? I would greatly appreciate your help. If you need clarification instead of, I don't understand, you can write, I'm not sure I fully understand this section. Could you please explain it in more detail or provide an example? These sentences are polite, clear, and professional, helping you maintain good relationships and receive helpful responses. The benefits of practicing daily sentences. Using daily sentences in both speaking and writing allows you to communicate more effectively in almost any situation. They provide structure, clarity, politeness. Over time, your brain begins to recognize these patterns automatically. Using advanced sentences becomes natural, making your English sound confident, fluent, and well-organized. By practicing these sentences regularly, you train yourself to think in English, express ideas fully, and respond thoughtfully. Whether you are speaking, writing, or engaging in conversation, daily sentences make your communication professional, friendly, and smooth. Daily sentences. Speak naturally, fluently, and confidently. Daily sentences help you sound natural, precise, and professional, giving you the confidence to handle any situation smoothly. Practicing them regularly will help you communicate fluently and confidently, especially in professional settings. When you use complete, well-formed sentences, you show respect, clarity, and thoughtfulness, which strengthens relationships with colleagues, clients, or supervisors. These skills also apply to casual conversations with friends or acquaintances, where advanced sentences make your English sound more engaging and natural. Sharing interests and experiences. Instead of saying, I like movie, you could say, I recently watched a movie that I really enjoyed. The storyline was captivating, and the characters were very well developed. Have you seen it? Or would you like me to recommend a similar one? This sentence shows interest, provides details, and invites the other person to respond, making the conversation interactive and enjoyable. When sharing personal experiences, instead of saying, I went, you could say, yesterday, I went to the park and spent a few hours reading and enjoying the fresh air. I also met a friend there, and we had a great discussion about our recent projects. Adding details, context, and follow-up questions makes your sentences richer, more natural, and interesting to listen to. Asking for directions and help. For directions, instead of saying, where train station? You can say, excuse me, could you tell me the best way to get to the train station? Is it possible to walk there? Or, would it be better to take a taxi? At a bus stop instead of, bus come. You can ask, could you please tell me what time the next bus to downtown will arrive? Does this bus stop at the Central Library as well? These sentences provide clarity, politeness, and context, making communication smoother and easier to understand. Practicing these in real-life situations trains your brain to automatically create similar sentence structures. Over time, you'll speak more naturally without pausing or overthinking. Ordering food and making requests. In restaurants or cafes, instead of, I want coffee, you can say, I would like a cappuccino, please. Could you also make it a little stronger? Or, I am not sure which dessert to choose. Could you recommend the most popular option? These sentences are polite, clear, and structured, demonstrating thoughtfulness and fluency. Adding small details or polite questions makes your English sound natural and confident. Examples. Could you make it a little stronger than usual? Could you recommend your most popular dessert option? Even small changes improve your spoken English significantly over time. You'll notice how native speakers naturally include details, context, and polite phrasing, which you can easily copy in your own communication. Social conversations. In casual conversations, instead of a simple greeting, how are you? You can say, how has your week been so far? Did you have any interesting experiences? It has been a while since we last spoke. How is everything going at work or school? These sentences invite longer responses, promote meaningful conversations, and allow you to practice more complex sentence structures. When someone shares good news, instead of saying, "Good," you can respond, "That is wonderful news. I'm so happy for you. How did you manage to achieve that?" This shows empathy, interest, and fluency in expressing emotions, making conversations more natural and enjoyable. Travel and professional situations. At airports, instead of, "Where gate?" you can ask, "Could you please tell me which gate my flight will depart from and what time boarding begins?" At a hotel, instead of, "Room ready?" you could say, "I have a reservation under the name Smith. Could you please confirm if my room is ready and if not, when it will be available?" These sentences are polite, clear, and complete, helping you communicate effectively and confidently in any situation. Key takeaways. Using daily sentences consistently helps your brain internalize natural English patterns. Your English will gradually become faster, smoother, and more confident. Small improvements like adding details, context, follow-up questions, or polite phrasing make a big difference. Daily sentences work in professional settings, casual conversations, travel situations, and written communication. By practicing these sentences, you train yourself to think in English, express ideas fully, and respond naturally, making your English polished, professional, and engaging in any situation. Advanced daily sentences. Speak clearly, politely, and confidently. Using advanced daily sentences helps you communicate naturally, confidently, and effectively, even in unfamiliar environments. They show that you are organized and considerate, creating a positive impression wherever you are. Practicing these sentences also strengthens your listening skills because you start recognizing patterns in how native speakers ask questions, make requests, or use polite expressions. Over time, your brain learns these patterns automatically, making it easier to respond naturally and confidently in almost any situation, from asking for directions and booking tickets to interacting with service staff, handling emergencies, or giving feedback. By consistently using advanced daily sentences, you train yourself to think in complete English sentences rather than translating word by word. Whether you are speaking socially, professionally, or while traveling, these sentences improve clarity, fluency, and confidence. Gradually, forming polite, thoughtful, and detailed sentences becomes automatic, and your English begins to sound natural, precise, and engaging in all types of conversations. Problem solving and asking for help. Using daily sentences is particularly useful in problem-solving situations. When you speak politely and clearly, your ideas are easier to understand, and others are more willing to listen and cooperate. For example, instead of saying, "This wrong," you could say, "I noticed a few points that might need revision. Would you like me to provide suggestions or discuss possible solutions together?" Instead of saying, "Help me," you could say, "I am having some difficulty understanding this section. Could you please explain it to me or guide me through the main points?" These sentences are polite, professional, and clear, showing thoughtfulness and effective communication, skills that are especially important in workplaces, schools, or group projects. Sharing opinions and giving suggestions. Instead of saying, "I think good," you could say, "In my opinion, this approach seems very effective because it addresses the main challenges we discussed earlier. I would like to hear your perspective on possible alternatives." Instead of, "I like idea," you could say, "I really like your idea because it is practical and well thought out. Perhaps we could also consider adding this element to make it even more effective." These sentences expand simple ideas into full expressions, encouraging dialogue and interaction while sounding natural and professional. Talking about personal experiences. When sharing personal achievements or experiences, using daily sentences adds depth. Instead of saying, I learn English. You could say, I have been learning English for several years, and I practice by speaking with friends, watching videos, and reading articles every day. I'm always looking for new ways to improve my fluency. Instead of, I play guitar. You could say, I enjoy playing the guitar because it helps me relax and express my creativity. I often learn new songs or try different styles to challenge myself and improve. Adding details, explanations, and follow-up thoughts makes your sentences more engaging, encourages further conversation, and allows listeners to connect with you. Expressing gratitude and giving compliments. Instead of saying, thanks, you could say, thank you very much for your help. I truly appreciate the time and effort you put into assisting me. Instead of, good job, you could say, you did an excellent job on this project. I really admire the effort and attention to detail you put into it. These sentences are polite, thoughtful, and natural, improving your communication in both social and professional situations. Disagreements and constructive feedback. Instead of saying, I don't agree, you could say, I understand your perspective, but I see things differently for these reasons. Could we discuss a possible compromise? Instead of, this is wrong, you could say, I noticed a few points that may need adjustment. Would you like me to share my suggestions? These sentences allow you to express your thoughts clearly without creating conflict, an essential skill in professional settings, school projects, or teamwork. Making plans and organizing activities. Instead of, meet tomorrow, you could say, would you like to meet tomorrow afternoon to discuss the project? I am available in the afternoon. Which time works best for you? Adding context, polite phrasing, and options makes your sentences clear, professional, and engaging, helping everyone understand your intentions easily. Key benefits of daily sentences. Think in English naturally. Your brain automatically forms full sentences. Communicate clearly in social, professional, and travel situations. Sound polite, confident, and professional in any environment. Improve listening skills by recognizing patterns in native speech. Encourage dialogue and interaction by asking questions and adding context. Express opinions, gratitude, or feedback effectively while maintaining respect. By practicing advanced daily sentences regularly, your English becomes smooth, fluent, and engaging. Conversations feel rich, interactive, and professional, and you gain confidence in almost any situation. Advanced daily sentences communicate clearly, politely, and confidently. Using advanced daily sentences helps you express ideas, intentions, and emotions naturally, making your English sound fluent, professional, and engaging. Whether you're scheduling meetings, social events, or travel plans, these sentences provide clarity, context, and politeness, which improves communication in all situations. Arranging meetings and social events. Instead of saying, meet tomorrow, you could say, I can adjust my schedule if another time works better for you. Or for social gatherings instead of, party Saturday, you could say, we are planning a small gathering on Saturday evening. Would you like to join us? Do you have any suggestions for activities? These sentences give options, provide details, and sound thoughtful, making your English polite and natural. Expressing intentions and future plans. Instead of, I want to travel, you could say, I am planning to travel to Italy next summer. I have been reading about the cities, and I am really excited to explore the culture, food, and history. Instead of, I want to improve English, you could say, I am very motivated to improve my English skills. I plan to practice daily by using real-life sentences and engaging in conversations whenever possible. These expanded sentences communicate motivation, context, and clarity, which is characteristic of advanced English. Regular practice makes forming full sentences automatic, allowing you to respond quickly and naturally. Storytelling and sharing experiences. Instead of, I go beach, you could say, last weekend, I went to the beach and spent a few hours walking along the shore. The weather was perfect, and I also tried some local seafood, which was delicious. Instead of, I meet friend, you could say, I met a friend yesterday and we had a long conversation about our recent travels. It was interesting to exchange experiences and ideas. Adding context, details, and follow-up thoughts makes your sentences richer, encourages interaction, and improves storytelling skills. Expressing curiosity, surprise, or interest. Instead of one-word reactions like really or wow, you could say, I find that very interesting. Could you explain a bit more about how that works? That is surprising. Could you share more details about what happened? These sentences show engagement, encourage dialogue, and reflect the natural patterns of native speakers, giving advice, persuading, and problem-solving. Instead of, do this my way, you could say, I believe this approach could be effective because it addresses the main challenges we discussed earlier. I would love to hear your thoughts on how we might implement it efficiently. Instead of, just do it, you could say, if I were in your position, I would consider trying this approach because it often leads to better results. What do you think about that? Instead of, we fix this later, you could say, I suggest we address this issue immediately to prevent further complications. Could we brainstorm possible solutions together? Instead of, I help you, you could say, I am happy to assist you with this task. Perhaps we can divide the responsibilities to complete it more efficiently. These sentences are polite, structured, collaborative, and demonstrate initiative and professionalism, making them ideal for workplaces, team projects, and group discussions. Key takeaways. Add context and details. This makes sentences richer and more engaging. Be polite and thoughtful. It encourages dialogue and builds positive relationships. Use complete sentences, improves clarity, fluency, and professionalism. Practice daily, strengthens listening, speaking, and storytelling skills. Expand simple statements. Turn basic phrases into natural, advanced English expressions. By practicing advanced daily sentences regularly, your English becomes smooth, confident, and natural. You will be able to communicate in any situation, whether casual, social, professional, or while traveling. Over time, your sentences will automatically sound fluent, polite, and engaging, allowing your ideas to be expressed clearly and respectfully. Using advanced daily sentences for fluent and natural English. Daily sentences are extremely useful for storytelling, sharing experiences, expressing emotions, giving instructions, and handling real-life situations. By practicing them consistently, your English becomes fluent, polite, and professional, and your brain automatically forms complete, well-structured sentences. Storytelling and sharing personal experiences. Instead of, I go city, you could say, last weekend, I visited the city center and explored several museums. The exhibitions were fascinating, and I learned a lot about the local history and culture. Instead of, I meet friend park, you could say, yesterday I met a friend at the park. We had a long conversation about our recent projects and shared advice on handling challenges at work. It was both enjoyable and productive. Adding context, details, and follow-up information makes your storytelling richer and more engaging while helping conversations flow naturally. Expressing emotions clearly and politely. Instead of, I am sad, you could say, I am feeling a bit down today because of a few challenges at work, but I am trying to stay positive and focus on solutions. How has your day been? Instead of, I'm happy, you could say, I am genuinely happy about the progress we made on the project today. It shows that our efforts are paying off. How do you feel about the results? For disappointment. I felt disappointed when the project did not go as planned, but I am focusing on the lessons we can learn from this experience. These sentences communicate feelings, provide context, and invite engagement, making your English natural and interactive. Giving instructions or advice. Instead of, do like this. You could say, to complete this task effectively, I recommend starting with these steps. First, gather all necessary materials. Second, follow the sequence carefully to avoid errors. Finally, review your work to ensure it meets the required standards. Instead of, try it. You could say, I suggest trying this approach because it has worked well in similar situations. You may also consider alternative methods if needed. Using complete, structured sentences improves clarity, authority, and professionalism. Travel and real-life situations. At a hotel instead of, room ready. You could say, I have a reservation under the name Johnson. Could you please confirm if my room is ready and if not, when it will be available? At a tourist site instead of, where museum? You could say, could you please tell me where the nearest museum is located and what the best time to visit would be? At a bus stop instead of, where bus? You could say, could you please tell me what time the next bus to downtown will arrive? Does it stop at the central library as well? Ordering at a cafe instead of, I want coffee. You could say, I would like a cappuccino, please. Could you make it a little stronger than usual? Adding context, details, or polite questions makes your English clear, engaging, and professional. Conversational situations. When greeting someone instead of, hi, how are you? You could say, hello, it's great to see you. How has your week been so far? Have you had any interesting experiences? When responding to good news instead of, good, you could say, that is wonderful news. I am so happy for you. Could you tell me more about how you achieved that? These sentences show interest, encourage dialogue, and make your English sound fluent and thoughtful. Professional and academic situations. Instead of, I like the plan. You could say, I think this plan is very well structured because it addresses all the key points we discussed. I would like to hear your thoughts on possible improvements. Using advanced daily sentences helps you express opinions, give feedback, persuade, or suggest improvements in a professional and respectful manner. Key benefits of practicing daily sentences. Builds fluency. Your brain automatically forms complete sentences. Improves clarity. Your ideas are expressed fully and understandably. Enhances politeness. Your English sounds respectful and professional. Strengthens listening skills. You notice sentence patterns used by native speakers. Boosts confidence. You can handle casual, social, or professional conversations effortlessly. By practicing advanced daily sentences regularly, your English becomes richer, interactive, and natural, allowing you to communicate effectively in almost any situation. Daily sentences are extremely helpful for expressing ideas, emotions, preferences, and instructions in a clear, polite, and professional way. By practicing them regularly, you train your brain to form complete, natural sentences automatically, making your English fluent, confident, and engaging. Expressing opinions and collaboration. Instead of saying, this idea is good, you could say, this idea seems promising, especially because it aligns with our objectives. Perhaps we could explore additional options to make it even more effective. Instead of, you're wrong, you could say, I see your perspective, but I believe there might be another way to approach this situation. Could we discuss possible solutions together? Instead of, this is bad, you could say, I noticed a few points that need revision. Would you like me to provide suggestions for improvement? These sentences show understanding, respect, and collaboration, which is especially useful in meetings, teamwork, or project discussions. Describing daily activities and experiences. Instead of saying, I cooked dinner, you could say, tonight I am preparing a homemade pasta dish with fresh vegetables. I plan to try a new recipe I found online, and I hope it turns out well. Instead of, I clean my room, you could say, I'm organizing my room today, making sure everything is tidy and in order. This helps me feel more productive and relaxed. Similarly, when describing daily routines or outings. After work, I went for a walk in the park and spent some time reading. The weather was perfect, and I met a friend to catch up on recent events. Adding context, details, and reasoning makes your sentences more natural, engaging, and interactive. Expressing emotions thoughtfully. Instead of, I am happy, you could say, I am really pleased with the outcome of today's work. It feels good to see our efforts making a difference. Instead of, I am tired, you could say, I am a bit exhausted after a long day, but I feel satisfied because I accomplished everything I planned. Instead of, I am disappointed, you could say, I felt disappointed when the project did not go as planned, but I am focusing on the lessons we can learn from this experience. These sentences allow you to express feelings clearly, politely, and thoughtfully, which is important in both personal and professional interactions. Asking for clarification or examples. Instead of, explain, you could say, could you please explain this concept in more detail? I want to make sure I fully understand it before moving forward. Instead of, give example, you could say, would you mind providing an example to help clarify this point? Seeing it in context would be really helpful. These sentences show curiosity, politeness, and advanced language use, making your communication more effective and professional. Expressing preferences and reasoning. Instead of, I like tea, you could say, I prefer drinking tea in the morning because it helps me feel awake and focused. I especially enjoy herbal blends with a hint of lemon. Instead of, I like books, you could say, I enjoy reading books on personal development because they provide valuable insights and motivate me to improve my skills and mindset. By adding context and reasoning, your sentences become thoughtful, complete, and professional. Giving feedback or suggestions. Instead of, change this, you could say, I think this section could be improved by adding more examples or explanations. Would you like me to suggest some ideas? Instead of, this is good, you could say, this is very well done, especially the way you structured the content. Perhaps we could strengthen it further by adding a few more examples or clarifications. These sentences demonstrate respect, clarity, and professionalism, which is essential in work, school, or team projects. Benefits of practicing daily sentences. Fluency. Your brain automatically forms complete sentences. Politeness. Your English sounds thoughtful and professional. Clarity. Your ideas are expressed fully and easily understood. Confidence. You can speak in any situation without hesitation. Engagement. Conversations become interactive, rich, and natural. Practicing advanced daily sentences consistently helps your English become automatic, smooth, and professional, whether you are sharing experiences, giving feedback, expressing emotions, or describing everyday activities. Practicing complete daily sentences helps you speak and write in full, natural, and professional English. Over time, your brain starts producing full sentences automatically, rather than short, incomplete phrases. This makes your English more engaging, polite, and clear in almost any situation, whether with friends, colleagues, or in formal settings. Talking about daily activities. Instead of saying, I go park, you could say, yesterday, I went to the park, enjoyed the fresh air, and read a few chapters of a book. I also met a friend, and we had an interesting conversation about our recent experiences. Instead of, I go market tomorrow, you could say, Tomorrow, I plan to visit the market to buy fresh fruits and vegetables. I also want to explore the new store that recently opened nearby. Instead of, I meet friend evening, you could say, this evening I am meeting a friend for coffee. We will talk about our recent projects and share ideas for future collaborations. Adding details, context, and reasoning makes your language more interesting, clear, and professional while encouraging interaction. Sharing achievements and progress. Instead of, I finished project, you could say, I have successfully completed the project and reviewed all the details to ensure everything meets the required standards. I am satisfied with the outcome and confident in our results. Instead of, I learn English, you could say, I have been improving my English skills by practicing daily conversations, reading articles, and listening to podcasts. This method has helped me speak more fluently and understand more advanced language structures. Providing examples and explanations makes your sentences complete, meaningful, and professional. Talking about hobbies, culture, and entertainment. Instead of, I watch film, you could say, I recently watched a film about historical events, and it was very informative and thought-provoking. I learned a lot about that time period and the challenges people faced. Instead of, I listen music, you could say, I enjoy listening to music because it relaxes me and helps me focus. I especially like classical music and jazz because of their rich melodies and rhythms. Adding context and feelings makes your language more advanced and interesting. Giving instructions or explanations. Instead of, clean room, you could say, please clean your room by putting away the books, organizing the clothes, and wiping the surfaces. This will make your space neat and comfortable. Instead of, go left then right, you could say, to reach the library, walk straight for 2 blocks, then turn left at the traffic light. Continue straight for another 3 blocks, and the library will be on your right-hand side. Adding steps, reasons, and details makes instructions clear, easy to follow, and polite. Benefits of using complete sentences. Fluency. Speaking in full sentences becomes automatic. Clarity. Your ideas are fully expressed and easily understood. Politeness. Your English sounds thoughtful and professional. Engagement. Conversations become interactive and interesting. Confidence. You can communicate smoothly in casual, social, and professional settings. Summary. Practicing complete daily sentences helps you express thoughts, plans, and feelings clearly. Give detailed instructions or explanations. Share achievements, hobbies, and experiences naturally. Communicate in a professional and polite manner. By adding details, context, and reasoning, even ordinary statements become engaging and meaningful. Practicing daily will make fluent, detailed, and natural English a habit, helping you become a better communicator in every situation. Practicing full, detailed sentences every day helps you speak and write in English that is fluent, confident, and natural. Over time, you will start producing complete sentences automatically, rather than short, incomplete phrases. This improves clarity, politeness, and professionalism in casual, social, or formal situations. Giving instructions or explaining steps. Instead of saying, do step 1 then 2, you could say, please follow these steps carefully. First, gather all the necessary materials. Second, organize them in order. Third, complete each task systematically to avoid mistakes. This version is clear, structured, and precise and helps you speak or write naturally even in complex situations. Asking questions and exploring ideas. Instead of, why this? You could say, could you please explain why this method is preferred over the alternatives? I would like to understand the reasoning behind it. Instead of, how do this? You could say, could you guide me through the process step by step? I want to make sure I understand it correctly before trying it myself. Polite, structured questions show advanced communication skills and help you get better answers. Expressing opinions and disagreement politely. Instead of, I disagree, you could say, I understand your perspective, but I see things differently because of these reasons. Could we explore a compromise that addresses both points of view? Instead of, this is wrong, you could say, I have noticed some aspects that may need adjustment. Would you like me to provide suggestions that could improve the outcome? Using complete sentences allows you to express opinions carefully and respectfully, especially useful in professional or formal situations. Storytelling and sharing experiences. Instead of, I go park, you could say, yesterday, I visited the park and spent several hours walking and observing the wildlife. The weather was perfect, and I even took some photographs to remember the day. Instead of, I meet friend, you could say, I met a friend at the park, and we had a long conversation about our recent projects. It was both enjoyable and productive. Adding context, details, and follow-up thoughts makes your storytelling richer, more engaging, and interactive. Giving feedback and persuasive suggestions. Instead of, do it this way, you could say, I suggest this approach because it has been successful in similar situations. We can also consider alternative options to ensure the best possible results. What are your thoughts on this? Instead of, I think this is better, you could say, from my experience, this method could be more effective, but I am open to exploring other ideas if you have suggestions. Using full sentences in feedback or persuasion makes your communication polite, professional, and persuasive. Answering questions responsibly. Instead of, I don't know, you could say, I am not entirely sure about that, but I can research the information and get back to you with accurate details. This shows that you are responsible, professional, and willing to find solutions. Summary of benefits. Daily use of complete sentences helps you speak fluently and confidently, express opinions, emotions, and ideas clearly, give structured instructions and feedback, ask polite, thoughtful questions, tell stories and share experiences engagingly, communicate effectively in social, professional, and academic settings. By adding details, reasoning, and context, even ordinary statements become interesting, meaningful, and professional. Practicing these sentences daily turns fluency and natural communication into a habit, helping you handle conversations, meetings, or discussions confidently. You could say, I met a friend for lunch, and we had a fascinating discussion about our recent projects and plans for the future. These detailed sentences provide context, emotions, and thought, making your English more natural, engaging, and expressive. Using full sentences is also helpful when giving suggestions, instructions, or sharing ideas in group discussions. Instead of short phrases like, do this, or try that, you could say, I recommend starting with this step because it simplifies the process. After that, we can review the results and decide on the next action. These sentences are polite, clear, and thoughtful, making it easier for others to follow your ideas and collaborate effectively. Practicing daily sentences strengthens many areas of communication. Whether you are giving feedback, persuading someone, telling a story, or asking questions, complete sentences make your English fluent, confident, and professional. Over time, this habit will help you express thoughts clearly, influence others respectfully, share experiences in a detailed, engaging way. Using structured, detailed sentences every day is a simple but powerful method to improve your English and become a better communicator.